Hi, everybody. This is Teresa Sullivan, bead weaver of many stripes and checks and plaids and all that stuff. I'm giving you a recap of what I've done yet again with this really fun total mess I made. And then I'm going to go into a new stitch that I thought I had figured out, but no, I was totally backwards on it. So why not get this screen share going and I'll tell you what I did. First of all, I this was the first this is the big mess that I found in this box of beads at the anarchist garage sale in Olympia, where I live. And it had more beads in it than I realized. And most of the beads, except for one little tray, and I'll show you that tray, I dumped out because there are a bunch of seed beads there and they're all mixed together anyway. So why not just make a big mess and bead my way out of the mess? So the first thing I did was this. That was actually started by some unknown person back in the whoever put the beads, started something and stuck it in that box. I don't know how long ago. And I did stuff with it. Then I started to do, I thought, when in doubt, and you have a whole big mess of things, do tubular herringbone, also known as endobelly weave, because it's so adaptable. As you can see, you could use multiple shapes and sizes. And I did that. I got to about here and I did a little more. This is what tubular endobelly looks like in progress. The stitch is going, this is going to be hooked up to that, and then it will tighten up. This is what I do if I want to integrate wildly bigger beads into it. And I can go into that. I teach herringbone and endobelly workshops, and my whole idea behind them is not to tell you how to make exactly this. It's to explore, experiment, and experience the fundamentals of the stitch, and then just start exploring and experimenting. And because it's fun, because maybe you'll come up with something I hadn't thought of, which is the whole point. These were those, oh my God, plastic beads. The bane of some people are just like, oh no, get them off of me, they're plastic. Then the vendors would come up with names like, oh no, they're vintage lucite. So regardless of origin or saleability, I decided I'm going to just loop them together and make little cluster, a tripartite cluster. So that's what that was. This is still in a hank. This hank blew up. The knot came untied at the top, so I stuck it in a bag for now. These were some oddball beads. The red ones are wooden. The off-white ones are, the little ones are fish vertebrae, and these are shell. There are a few other oddball, larger glass beads. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to string them and go for it, and because so I can say I did something with them. I still haven't done anything with the porcupine quills or the hardware, but I can do that. There's lots of adventures yet to be had. This is the most recent thing I did. I thought, most of the beads in this pile are bugle beads. Why don't I just do a simple peyote stitch, also known as, well, it's not really, I won't get into it, but it's a kind of a misnomer, peyote stitch, but in practical terms, that's what the term most people use for this type of stitch. And what you do, I can do a peyote stitch tutorial later, but this is so-called peyote stitch with bugle beads. And I'm treating this a little gingerly because bugle beads have a bad reputation for severing thread, but because this is an experiment plate, this is a discovery opportunity, this whole plate, I am just trying it out. And if it doesn't work, I'll know. I will have evidence. Now, the thing that I'm more excited about is, I'll have to make a little area for it here, is these three things. First, it was, oh, focus sesame. Come on, baby. Focus. There you go. This was a fragment of beads that I found just alongside all these loose beads. And it intrigued me. And I was wondering, okay, how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you do it? And it took me a while before I even got some idea of how it was done. I knew it was a woven stitch, but that was about it. And it had to do, it looked kind of right angle weavish, but it's not. So I started to, on this end, I started to take it apart basically. And if you'll see, as I take this apart, it looks like there are 5 little tiny seed beads coming around in a loop and going through that one. Well, I tried that out, and this is what I came up with. I thought I would, once I got that far, I decided, okay, well, I didn't really know how to start it. So that's my kind of funky start end. But I thought, okay, what I'll do is I'll delineate each stitch by switching colors every time I do a new stitch or add beads to do a new stitch. Then I thought, how can it be I even had to do a couple diagrams, and this is what I came up with. Put on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beads, go through this bead, and then make a loop and go back through one of the second bead that I added. That sounded so convoluted. I thought, well, I'll go for it, but it just doesn't sound very practical. The other unpractical thing was I couldn't figure out how to start it. So finally, after doing all this beadwork, and I continued to pursue this because this is a nice sturdy chain stitch. I thought this would be useful. Then I thought, okay, how did they start it? How did they start it? Well, I ended up going to the other side of the piece, and somehow there's a knot in here, so I can't really get it too far pulled apart very much. But you can see there are 3 beads going through, coming out, putting on 3, and going through 1. So I thought, I bet that's the way it was done. So I ended up doing this piece where I started. Okay, so I discarded this. I kept it for forensic beading evidence, but I thought, okay, what I need to focus on is the fact that when they're starting, it's essentially a 5 bead loop. If you count those 3 loosey-goosey ones, and that one that loop is coming out of from this end, and the one that it's going through, that's your 5 beads. So I thought, okay, I'll start with 5 beads, but I'll do it in a completely different fashion. I will put on 5 beads, turn around, and go back through the first bead I put on. And then, yeah, I thought, okay, yeah, this is really the way it's worked. So once I had those 5 beads with 4 in a circle or 4 in a kind of a loop, and 1 bead, the first bead as the junction bead, then I thought, okay, put on 2 beads, or put on 3 beads and go through that one, put on 2 beads, go through that one, put on 3 beads, go through that one. So I thought, oh, okay, that's the way they did it, not that 5 bead thing. So I initially, this is where down here, where I started the piece down here with that 5 bead loop in one color. Then I thought, okay, I'll use a different color for the first stitch, back to the first color for the second stitch, and back and forth. Then I thought, okay, yeah, I got it. I feel comfortable doing this. I'll do it all in one color. Then I thought, why don't I recreate this pattern, because I like the look of it. And then I thought, what if I didn't make it a check mark? What if I make it a little zigzag? So I made I made it into a little zigzag, then I ran out of thread. I will probably use this stitch again. Again, it's sturdy. You can reef on it. It's nice. It's kind of, it has a lacy look to it, but it's sturdy. So, you know, pretty and tough. It's a good combo. What I'll do in the next video that I'm making on the same day right after I get done with this video is I will show you how to do this step by step, or I'll show it to you using beads that are not a millimeter wide. I will use big Herkin beads. You'll see that soon. I will stop this video and start the new video with, you'll see what kind of big Herkin beads I'm using, so you can actually see what I'm doing. So I hope you like this little update and recap and teaser for the new stitch that I refigured out, that I thought I figured out, realized I did not figure out correctly, and came up with a new way to do it that's probably correct. So I'll see you next time and hope you enjoyed this. Bye.